My name's Francis McShane, and I'm going to show you a few more of the methods which are available in Window Plus, an extension I've written for SketchUp. In this tutorial, we'll take a look at, as I say, some of the additional functionality we haven't looked at in earlier profiles. So I'll select a window and call up the editor from the context menu, and one of the features that we haven't looked at so far is outer frame. So we'll take a look at that. So in this, I think the outer frame might be on in this window, so we'll switch it off just to put it back to butts. So yeah, so initially when you create a window, that's what it would look like, and you'll notice that the mullions and transoms, that's a transom there, and there's a mullion there, are rather thicker than the outer frame. And with certain kinds of windows, that is actually the case. But with I think with the slightly more expensive windows, they are normally the same width. So if we switch on the outer frame, that's what will happen. As you can see now, if I measure the that width, that's 128 millimeters. And if I measure that width to there, yep, that's also 128 millimeters. And equally, if I measure up there, that's 128. And if I measure from there to the head, also 128. So you can see it's all even Stevens now. The next, well, I suppose what I should mention is that with such fat profiles, it doesn't look particularly pretty, but we can make the profile suit the profile width and depth of the window in your catalog very simply. And probably it's best if I turn on section cut so that you can see this. So if we zoom in onto the section and select profiles, that will show you how the profile width and depth will change. So profile width, profile depth. We'll change the width first, because that'll make it look prettier. Okay, as you see, I've made it much narrower, and if I zoom back and take a look at that, you can see it looks quite nice. And again, if we check the width, we'll find that from there to there, that's 60 millimeters. If I check from there into there, it's also 60 millimeters. So keeps everything even Stevens. Now obviously opening lights won't be like that. They'll tend to fill the frame the way opening lights do, but still with the thinner profiles, that'll look nice. I'll just add a casement just to show that to number 6. Make it an opening light. So you can see it does kind of fill the frame a wee bit the way opening lights do. Put the section on, you can look at that opening light in place. You can also change the depth. So I'll just do that. So go back to profile. We made it thinner down to there, so we'll make the depth, say something silly like 200. That would be the depth of, I guess, a curtain wall, something like that. Not this kind of window, but you can do it. That's basically all I'm saying. So we'll make that a more sensible depth. Bring it down to, I suppose, 70 millimeters. 7 centimeters would be more normal. So I think that you'll agree with me, that looks like a fairly normal window. Okay, so that was profile depths, how you can adjust those. See what else we have here in the box of tricks. We've looked at divide, and we've looked at size, we've looked at adjust, I think, and merge and delete, and glazing bars, transients and noise. We haven't looked at reverse. We'll take a look at reverse. And that's handy. First of all, I'll create a situation artificially here where we need reverse. So what I'll do is I'll copy this window. It's the other side of the building. And I'll make it flat with the building because I copied it from the wall. I'll also center it so it looks nice. Like that there. Now, if I call up reverse, you see why we have it. It literally reverses that window. And I can now cut that window. Now I'll have to just explain one wee thing first. In order to cut that window, I'm going to have to make it cuttable because I copied that from a previously cut window. So once you've cut with a window, you can't cut again. There's a variable set in the window which doesn't allow you to cut again. So, but in this case I do want it to cut again because it's a copy of that window, so I'll make it cuttable. Okay, and then call up the cut opening function. And the wall thickness is wrong, so I'll adjust that. And OK that. Ignore that warning. And as you can see, it's made quite a nice job of cutting that opening and reversing it. I'll show you another little function. It's not going to be any good. This is a symmetrical window, so you won't see it with that one. But with this window here, for instance, which is not symmetrical, I can show you the hand function. Not hands a window, it goes from left hand to right hand. That's what I mean by hand. It goes from left hand to right hand, so just watch. You see that the opening light number 2 flicked over to the left hand side. I'll just run it again so you can see that. And now the opening light number 2 will flick over to the right hand side. You see? So that's another handy function. Quite often windows are handed in walls to make them look symmetrical, so you can just apply that in that way. See what else there is. Oh yeah. There's finally the profiles and areas function. If I click that, that produces a list of the profile lengths and glazing or spandrel panel areas, and that can be quite useful for BIM data processing. And you can cut and paste this into a table program, a spreadsheet program, but you'd actually have to open up the Ruby window. So I'll show you how to do that. Just go into Window in SketchUp, call up Ruby console, not Ruby window, and I'll get that stuff out of the way so you can see it happening better. And then if I call up profiles and areas again, you can see it first of all in this window, but when I click OK, you can see how it also appears in the Ruby console. And you can copy that, Control C, and take it into a spreadsheet program like this one here, and paste it in. And if you make space be the divider and OK it, the numbers should come out in cells on their own. Need to tidy it up a wee bit, like that there. And I can tidy it up a bit more just to show you. Make that meters squared, meters, and take the M out of these ones. There you have it. So that's opening light profile length in meters, fixed light profile length in meters, glass area in square meters, and glazing bars in profile length in meters. And you can add that up and multiply it by a price, that kind of thing. So that's about it. Thanks very much for listening.